Let's try this. Okay, now I just turned my mic on, so Debbie, let me know if you can hear me. So what I did is I have a Mary Amick version of a rake brush, and that's what this is right here. So I took a chip brush and I took a pair of scissors to it and I cut out some of the bottom of it. And okay, good deal. Debbie says she can hear me. So you can see my rake brush right here. And I'm going to take that paint, I put it on the brush and I roll it, not roll it, but I kind of take it and try to get it off of there. Because if you have a big blob of paint on your brush, you're going to have a big blob of paint on your yard art and you don't want that. So I've got my self-made or Mary Amick made chip brush right here. There you go. And I'm just going to do what I think is going to look good in terms of the hair and the way that it would grow on the animal. Now I may get a little bit over here on the green, but that's okay. And then I'll come this way. And notice I kind of hit that edge a little bit hard. That's what I like to do. I kind of hit that edge a little bit hard like that. And you can see in just a short amount of time, you're going to have some good brush strokes. Now this is a piece that we also sell at the store, because some of the things that we do in the Painters Club, we don't necessarily sell the piece, but we sell this Nativity piece at the store. So if you're not so inclined to make your own, we do sell this one. Of course, it'll be, probably October before we have it out there, but it'll be for sale. And I'm going to just take those brush strokes and put them wherever I think I want them. Of course, since it's an animal, I'm going to put my brush strokes all over because an animal has fur all over. So I've got that dark gray. It's watered down with some water. I put it on the tip of my brush and I take that brush and I hit it against the side there, because then that way I've got some paint there on the tip of the bristles that I have on this brush. And of course I've got the little mane coming down here, if you will. And then the hair would probably grow something like this. And again, I'm going to get some on the red and the green. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I can go back and worry about that later. So I keep loading and unloading, if you will, on that brush. So I'm going to come down here. I got too much on. Let's go around here. Let's do it this way. And I'm just putting a very light touch on this hair. If you bear down too hard, then you're going to have a big blob, and you don't really want that. The trick, I think, to this is to show your brush strokes, but also to let some of that gray underneath the brush stroke show through. You don't want to cover all of it up. And you can use a regular small rake brush if you want. Something like this, if you happen to have that, you can definitely use that. But I just, this is a bigger piece, so I would be doing a lot of brush strokes way too much. So I just made my own. Never throw brushes away, because you can always find, even if you think they're crap or whatever, don't throw them away, because you can always use them in some other painting technique. I really don't throw much of them. Every now and then I'll throw strip liners away, because they really, those are the small brushes. There's really nothing I can do with those. So, but for the most part, I don't, because you never know when you want to cut and make your own brush. So I'm going to just kind of come down here with the legs of my donkey. Put a little bit more there. There we go. I'm just going to kind of keep hitting it like that. And in a pretty quick amount of time, I've got a lot of brush strokes on my donkey as far as my fur. Of course, if you use a smaller brush, it's going to take a little bit longer. So tell me, how are you guys doing? I hope you are having a good day. I'm having a good day. Unfortunately, I went to the dermatologist this morning just for normal stuff. And they, hey, but the good news, I think I was in that dermatologist office, y'all, maybe a total of 30 minutes. You know how doctor's offices can be. So I thought I was doing pretty good. They got me right in and right out of there. And again, I'm still putting some paint on here and taking it off. And just go in the direction that you think the fur would grow on the animal. There we go. Something like that. And at just that amount of time, I'm going to put this in the water. But just in that amount of time, I have pretty much my donkey, as far as the fur, the first part of it is done. Now let me turn him around. See, I like the view for y'all to be able to see where it makes the most sense. So I'll start up here. Now I'm going to take this as I think this is probably about a number 10 brush. And just like I would normally do, I'm still going to pick up some paint and do my normal shading process, y'all. I'm going to do it this way. I'm coming that way. And again, it's just putting the paint on that brush. I'm going to come around the eyeball like so. There we go. Yeah. And then let me scoot this little guy over here. These are what I would think of. I don't think you call them bangs on a donkey, but that's kind of what I think they are called. What I think of them as is bangs right here, y'all. And then I'll come up here. I'm just following that CNC line. And then up here on the edge, I'll probably just kind of feather it a little bit down. And again, this is just fur, so it's not like you've got to be perfect or anything like that. It's an animal. Ooh, Lord, I used the wrong tip of the brush, y'all. Go back to the right tip. Like so. Hope you guys are doing good. It's Thursday, y'all, and we got a lot going on at the shop and a lot going on here at the house. Pretty much, Ashley and I both work out of our house, and then we take stuff to the store when it's finished and when we think we're ready to sell it. So we work out of our house a lot. Right now, I'm just going in here and I am just framing the face right in here. And then you can always come back here with this brush and give it a few more strokes. Something like that. Y'all know I'm going to come back and put highlights on here. Because you always have to highlight, or I feel like you always need to highlight whatever it is that you're doing. So I'm going to come over here like this. I'm going to kind of stand up a little bit. This is a bigger piece, so it's a little bit hard to sit down. And I'm just taking that gray, shading gray, if you will, that I made by mixing black and gray, and I'm going around all the different places, and then I'm going to pick that brush up and just kind of do it like that. Okay? Let's go here. So this is the main body, and I'm going to come up here and go around. Notice when I start shading around, say that green wreath around the neck, it really kind of just starts to give some definition in there, which is kind of what I'm going for. And then I'm going to take this brush, it's still pretty dry, and I'm going to do this. I keep putting it on there, like that. Now, right here, there's the definition of my leg on him. And then I'll come in here and just keep going with brush strokes. I think if once you kind of get the hang of doing fur on an animal, it really kind of makes everything worthwhile, because your animal looks pretty, you know, not perfect, but realistic. You know, so, and again, I'm just kind of coming in here, using this paint that I have, which is right now trying to dry out on me because it's so hot. And we have a lot of humidity where I'm at, y'all. And we just do that. Kind of come in here and put some more brush strokes. Now I'm going to turn this I have it on a Lazy Susan, y'all. Put it over here. I'm going to kind of work now here towards the behind of the animal. And you can kind of imagine that when I start to come in here and do a lot of outlining and shading, my donkey is just going to have a whole bunch of stuff going on as far as the design or the template or the pattern. Now this is a template that we do have for sale. Obviously we sell the blank, but if you're out of town or you want to cut your own blank or you don't want to pay shipping, or you just don't want to pay for the blank, you can get the template and definitely watch this video and make your own Christmas nativity donkey and still have a really good piece of yard art for Christmas. I'm kind of going in here, y'all, just putting a lot of brush strokes. I'm going to come in here like so. And then here, I need to do the tail. Like so. Now I'm going to shade the tail here, the red bow, and the red bow around his neck and the green wreath. And then we're going to, basically, we're ready to rock and roll and go and do, hold on, I got to get my brush. Just outline and highlight from there. Try and find a smaller brush, y'all. Of course, I can't find. I only have, I don't know how many brushes, but a bazillion. The problem with that is then you can't find sometimes the one you're looking for. So I'm going to just kind of do some shading on this red bow. Something like that. And I'm going to let that dry. And as I'm working on this, I'm going to shade my bow right here. Notice how I kind of just pick that up to get that point. You just pick it up, pick your brush up. That's all you do. So much of your brush stroke or the look of the brush stroke is going to depend on how much pressure you put on the bristles of your brush. So we're going to come in here like so. And in just a few strokes you can see I've taken something when we first started the video from just looking kind of bland to really starting to take shape and look like something that's attractive and that you might would want to put in your yard or sell. We trying to think, I probably have been doing, when I first started painting probably about 30 years ago, I didn't do nativity pieces because I really didn't know how. So I've probably been doing nativity pieces now for, I don't know, maybe 25 years or 22 or something like that. And they can be a little intimidating because you do have to do things like, kind of like think about the fur or do some shading. But once you get that done, you are, you know, once you start to kind of tackle that, you're going to be able to paint whatever you want. And so I'm almost to the point, y'all, where I'm ready to pick up my script liner. I'm just going to kind of come in here and do some random brush strokes. Nothing too serious. Now I'm ready to pick up my script liner with some black paint and really start adding some definition to this piece. So this is my script liner. This is a number 4, I think, y'all. Yeah, it's a number 4. All right, you know, I'm looking at the view. It looks like you guys have a pretty good view of what I'm doing, so that's good. That was the whole point behind using StreamYard. That, and I could stream in several different places at one time, but I like the dual view of y'all being able to see the front view and that top view, which is, I think the top view is probably the best view, really, because you can see pretty much everything I'm doing. And I'm just going in here and putting some black paint on those CNC lines where I want one color to meet the other. And then I'm just adding a few brush strokes on top of that. And notice I'll come in here on that shading and I'll just add some brush strokes on that shading. All right, so we got the eye of our little guy right here. I'll have to come back later and touch up that white, y'all. But no worries. And then, of course, I always, not everybody wants to do this. Sometimes Bruce gets after me for putting eyelashes on everything I do, but I like eyelashes, so I put eyelashes on everything I do. And then I'll come take and put some brush strokes in here. Just right around. Then you just start doing this over and over and over and over and over with that fur, right? And then, of course, by the time I come in here and I put some white on it, we have a realistic looking animal. And these are his nostrils. And then I'm going to just come in here and just take that brush and hit it on the board and pick it up. Basically, that's all I'm doing. Like so, y'all. And I probably come around just kind of make a brush stroke right there next to the outline. Okay? All right, so we're going to go here. Like so. And I'm just following that CNC line, and then I pick it up and I come over here and just make some brush strokes all up and down the body. In this case, that's his bangs, if you will. And kind of come up here and do some, and I am going to come back and do some more brush strokes with white for my highlight. But yeah, I've been doing nativities for a long time, and that's that one thing that you can always depend on. People at Christmas, everybody, not everybody, but so many people really like a nativity. And then I come up here, do the ear, this ear. And this donkey's like most donkeys, he's got big wide ears, which is what makes him cute. I think. All right, let me flip him around and bring him over here some. There we go. View is great. Good, Debbie. Because that's the whole point of, and I've had so much trouble technology-wise. I do have Xfinity coming out this afternoon to work on some of our Wi-Fi issues, because I just got so frustrated the other day. I just couldn't take it anymore. And I called and told them to come on out, you know. And they're like, well, we have to charge you. I'm like, I don't care. I just want it fixed because I'm tired of dealing with this. But I got StreamYard going. I'm using 2 cell phones. But right now, I still can't use my laptop in here in my art room. And I think it's just because it's like a dead spot here. Our modem doesn't want to reach here. And we've tried those amplifiers, and we've not had a lot of luck with those. So I'm going to take this and just kind of come in here, put some brush strokes in here like that. And then I'm also going to kind of come right over here close to that outline. And just do that. And then I'll probably come down here. Okay. I'm going to come in here, and right where I've gotten every brush stroke of that green shading, I'm going to put a little bit of black on it. Not a lot, just a little bit. Then I'm going to come up here, and I'm probably going to do something like this, y'all. Trying to create that outline here. Okay. Come up here. A lot of times I start here and work towards me, because for me that's more, I feel like I have more control over the brush if I do that. So I'll come up here, and I'm just hitting that brush on the board a little bit. That's all I'm really doing. But you can tell my donkey's starting to look good, y'all. Takes some work and some patience. Scooting down. Let's go that way. And again, I've got longer brush strokes here, so I'll take whatever the size of your brush stroke in that gray is kind of what you mimic in the black. You got long brush strokes in gray, you mimic those long brush strokes in black. That's kind of what I do. Here. keep moving this guy around. He's 40 inches, y'all. I think he's 40 inches long. So he's a little bit longer than what we normally do on our lives. That's why I kind of keep moving him around. And it's just a lot of brush strokes. And I can see right here on the side, I have a bare spot of no paint. So I'm going to take that and just put some paint on that side using this black on the script liner. And I'm going to come up here on the tail, outlining that tail. And then I've got to do more brush strokes. Okay, I'm going to turn him around again, y'all. Go. Okay, let's go here. And I'm just making his hoof. I started out in black. I base coated it black, and then I covered some of it with those brush strokes. So I've got to kind of go back and put a little bit more black on there. Lots and lots of brush strokes. All right. I'm almost done with this guy. I don't know how long I've been live, but not that long. And really, it's just about putting some definition in here by using that rake brush and using your script liner brush. Okay. And what I do is when I'm outlining on where the CNC line is, I put a lot of paint on my brush at that point. But when I'm just doing the brush strokes to make fur, I don't have near as much paint on there. Because I don't want a big line on the fur. You just kind of want really a softer line. And you can kind of bring that in like so. Just touching up that outward line. Bringing it in. Making it a little bit more realistic looking. And I'm going to probably do the same right here. Just a little bit. And I'm going to come up here. Come up here. Alright. Something like this, y'all. You can always tell when I'm trying to really concentrate because I don't talk near as much. All right, which is probably not a bad thing, y'all. Let me go back. Oh, shoot. I just messed up my paint. Okay, let me come back over here. I got a big blob of paint, y'all. I'm just going to kind of come in here and just do a little bit more stroking. Just to kind of give it the little look of fur. Nothing too serious. Oh Lord, I had a big old blob there, y'all. Y'all can see over here. Come up here. Okay, I think I am ready to pick up the white. I'm washing out my brush, and I'm fixing to show y'all some white. a lot of water in this white earlier today. I was painting some other stuff. So this white is pretty watered down. I'm just going to kind of start making me some brush strokes. Now the thing about the white, you don't want near as much white on here as you have black or gray. Just the word highlight is just that, a little bit. And I'm not trying to make it a very dark white. I'm trying to make it kind of a light wispy. Just to bring a little bit of color to that gray, light gray, and black. That's all I'm doing. Oh, let me come over here so you guys can see. And you can tell I'm not necessarily dipping my brush in there a whole lot. Kind of doing it with a little less paint on it. Now when I get up here into my red bow, I will put more pressure and a little bit more paint on here than I would with the fur. Okay, so I'm going to kind of start in here, kind of come down. I'm just hitting some white highlights wherever I see space that I can fit some white in there. And while I'm down here at the hook, I'll go ahead and do this. Okay, I have to rinse that brush up because it's got some black in there. Okay, I'm going to pull this little guy over so you guys can see him a little bit better. You could spend several hours just doing nothing but putting brush strokes on this guy, y'all. It's like a lot. But that's what makes him look good, I think. I'm going to try to touch this little area up right here. Make that look a little bit more white. Okay. Then I've got his bangs and his ears, and a little bit on his back over there. Turn it around a little bit more. Let's see what we got. Over here. Just so I can show y'all. Now normally I probably would wait till this black dries, but I just want to show y'all for the video. Okay, y'all, I think I'm pretty good. I'm going to try to put this up under here where you can really see a good view of it. Let me turn it around this way. I ain't got nothing but a mess over there, y'all, because I dropped some black paint. Okay, I'm going to try it for this one. So there's his face. I still need to put some white dots in here, but it's just too wet at this point. Okay. So start with your gray, your base coat of gray. Mix some gray with black, and that's your shading and all your fur colors. Make sure you use your rake brush. This is a rake brush right here. I used a bigger chip brush, and I just cut it myself. Okay. Good Lord. And then there would be your wreath around the neck along the bow. And then, of course, the body. And I'll put a picture on this in the comments later on when this dries, just so you guys can see all of that. Let me turn it around and maybe y'all can see better this way. Right here. Here's the donkey, y'all. And he's so cute, and it's just a lot of brush strokes. None of them are very hard, but you got to take the time and the patience to get, just basically sit there and do all your brush strokes. That's basically all it is. All right, guys, thank y'all so much. Ashley will be on, I'll be on Friday. I'm going to be doing blue bonnets. Well, Friday's tomorrow. Jeez. Okay, I'm going to be doing the blue bonnets tomorrow. So I will see you guys then, and I hope you guys have a great one. Wanda, I just now got to see your comment. Thank you for joining me. Debbie, thank you for always having my back and telling me what I ain't doing right and what I'm doing right, because Debbie always has to help me out. So y'all have a good day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.